We are only speaking the actual fact. We are only speaking the actual facts. We are only speaking the actual facts. Speaking the actual facts, the actual facts.
With Dr. Deuce, why y'all?
We are only speaking the actual facts, the actual facts, the actual facts, the actual facts.
With Dr. Deuce, why y'all?
We are only speaking the actual facts, the actual facts, the actual facts, the actual facts.
With Dr. Deuce, why y'all?
As he was going through his teenage life, he met at the age of 15, he met his own race. These are the Riskians, right? They're known as Morzaku in our tongue, the Morzaku from Risk. And if you want to, someone asked me about the man from planet Risk, could we prove that this Ilion existed? Well, yes, the scientists have discovered a three-sun star system. Look it up. They've acknowledged that it exists, and you're going to have more discoveries that are taking place within these next few years that you have to be prepared for. Because as they uncover it and put it in the news, and as Congress and these other governments let it out, right, uncover these UFO files, have these UFO and extraterrestrial hearings, you'll be aware of it. It's new now. If you're just tuning in, you may not know about like the specifics of it from their side because they're not aware of who these beings are. But our doctrine, the Actual Facts podcast, will make it clear. So when you hear about it, you'll say, okay, those are draconians. Oh wow, they're telling you about the Greys. Oh wow, they're telling you about the Riskians or the Anunnaki. So these things will be clear. And he said we'll be ahead of everyone else when it comes to that. So at 15, he met the Marazaku, the Riskians, from a three-star three-sun system. Stars are suns, right? Where the Risk is a very it's like a very significant planet because of how its orbit around these three suns. And it, like I said, it orbits in this particular way, right? And it goes around each orbit in such a symmetrical shape. And the way that it goes, you'll see in the front of our publication, some of them, you'll see a symbol, even on the crop circles, you'll see a symbol of these three circle type objects that are all shaped differently in a pyramid tetrahedron type shape. You may have seen it, those that are following the crop circles and are interested in that phenomenon, they show you sometimes. And then there's a center, three circles in the middle, and a tetrahedron type triangle. Well, what the Father explained is that this is the orbit of Rizq, and these are beings who have evolved trillions of years past us. They're etheric in their natural form, and they do become physical is at the time that Rizq meets the center of this orbit is where beings can become Etherean. And just like you have an etheric body, etheric beings exist within this universe, the multiverse, right? And they have a conscious. This is the symbol of Rizq. And these beings have sent Yanun, who is an Etherian, the 19th elder of the 24 elders that you are aware of, right? And now sits at the 24th, right? And that 19th seat was responsible for raising the 144,000 on this planet so that you will be taken up when the earth goes through its turmoil, right? But you have to be educated first. You can't be taken without being taught first. And you have to be taught a doctrine known as the hereafter doctrine. Here, where after the devil has been destroyed and the planet has been wiped clean of the evils and the poisons that the Adamite race has placed inside of systems and societies, the food, etc. You have to be taken up, but you have to be taught the hereafter doctrine. You have to be given a certain amount of information so you'll know where you're going. So Yanun, in his incarnation into the body of Dr. Malachi York, at the age of 15, he met these beings. And this is what he speaks about in the Akasha records. He says, as a teen, right, he was getting into regular things, trying to be with the in crowd, right? You know, when you're young, you want to be though you feel different. All of you probably have been through this same situation where you're different, you have a spiritual mind, you have a spiritual path that you want to follow, you just don't know how to obtain it. So in order not to be different from everyone else, you start doing whatever amongst children and bad things or negative things, whatever the case you may find yourself in, right? So at that age, his Riskians, they taught him, and he thought, and they thought he forgot. Actually, he thought he forgot about it. A lot of times, a lot of those incidents he was suppressing. So this is he met them at age of 15. He doesn't go into specifics how they came. Maybe I didn't take the notes down properly, but he did say that the being was walking next to him on the initiations into Melchizedek. He has an audio where he just talks about how Melchizedek was walking with him, a being that was tall. He had a long beard, and he just appeared to him, but he felt very comforted in his appearance. Melchizedek had met him and talked to him and told him anything that you wanted to think of or anything that you needed to know, just think of it and I will be there, right? And he said he didn't know what he meant by that at the time. He didn't know that in him would be Melchizedek. He thought that, like anyone would, okay, well, if I think about this person will show up, or I can call him or whatever. But that's not what he was saying. He was saying as he grew into maturity and has begun to teach, he became the embodiment of this being. And this Melchizedek, right, the green one, would show up and then eventually possess his body. And oftentimes in classes where he had to write or teach, this being would come forth and teach the masses, and you would hear massive amount of information come from him throughout the older classes, True Light tapes. You see that you might find some of them online, where the father had taught in the early 70s and the 80s, and you'll feel the presence of this being even in the audio. And of those that had lived amongst him will also experience the presence of this being. Also, so let's move forward. I'm just covering the various incidents so we can, so we'll know what happens, and maybe it's clear on how this intergalactical being incarnated, right? So he met Sheikh Dawood in 1967. Sheikh Dawood was his mentor, right, at State Street Mosque, and he was told his name then, right? He had Yanun or Yananin, right? He says his sister Zatra and the brother Quitani took him actually at this time. They took him to Martazuk. You know, and I make reference to this the biblical text because this is the best correlation, because you've been taught religion first in the West. So they teach you that, oh, Enoch was not, but God took him. He walked with God, right? He walked with these beings, and they took him somewhere. They don't tell you where they took him. Only in the book of Enoch will you find the incidents that he went and talked to these beings in this heavenly abode. Well, this happens. It's not something that is that is foreign. All cultures speak about beings being taken up. You had whole civilizations where they say, well, the Mayans were taken up or they disappeared. The Nathar, the beings of ancient Mehmet, came down and spoke, raised this certain group of beings and raised them up and took them to the heavens. They say Yahshua was taken to the heavens. Literally, he was taken up physically into the heavens, into these various star systems. These beings will take you if you're worthy, but you have to purify yourself. You have to eliminate yourself of the Adamite's world. You have to eliminate yourself of religious doctrines that have spoiled your mind and has rotted the planet to where people are lost and have regressed back to beast-like animals. So he was taken to risk where, right, Martazuk risking, right, as on risk, they call him Ma'alayan or Ma'alian, which is Ilion in our tongue, right? And they downloaded this information in his being, 76 trillion years of knowledge, of time in his mind. And you can find that in Man from Planet Risk. If you're interested in it, email me. So this is where he received this download, right? So walking home one night again, a Mukwan being dressed in all black with a black beard. This was El Khidr, right? And that he will become a teacher of many. When we went over the last episode where we spoke about this Melchizedek not only came to and taught our father, Panabab Yanun, but you'll see many incidents as we went over in the Quran as well, where he taught Moses in Quran 18:60, chapter verse 66. And then we talked about Melchizedek teaching Yahshua. So Melchizedek is the teacher of Horus or Rehar Akatwi or Christ or Jesus.
We are only speaking the actual
Thanks for
facts.
joining the Actual Facts podcast. If you enjoyed these lectures, please feel free to check out previously recorded episodes. Just click the link in the window, and please don't forget to subscribe, share, and like.
We got to do
We are only only speaking the actual facts.